Walking down the hallways of Vanier College, the dusty, dry corridors of Vanier, airless and awful on a beautiful, beautiful, nearly summer day, leaving behind the dark nightmare of my office, once a nun's bedroom, apparently, weird, and headed off towards the English resource room, which is exactly as full of character and verve as that name implies, English resource room. And I am walking there now because I am about to take part in a protest against Bill 96. And before I go any further, I should acknowledge that despite the fact in this story I will be using some of the following sentences, as a teacher, as a professor at Vanier College, as a member of the Vanier College Teachers Association, and as a member of various organizations and regroupements, I do not speak for any of them. And any opinions I may accidentally let slip, or any versions of politics that come out of my mouth, they are my own, they are ill thought through, and they're not as articulate as they could be if we talk later, right? Right. So, I am walking towards the English resource room, ready to protest this awful bill, Bill 96, a bill that, if you don't know much about it, you live in Quebec. Most of us don't know very much about it. That's just the nature of the thing, right? That's what we're doing here. And I gotta tell you, I'm walking there and I'm feeling a little bit anxious. I'm feeling a little bit nervous. You see, I've had three meetings in the past 2 weeks. First an English department meeting, then a Vanier College Teachers Association meeting, and then a town hall for the entire college. And all of these, the answer was, we don't really know. We don't really know what this is going to do. We don't really know how this is going to affect your lives, the lives of your students, but it doesn't seem great. What options do we have? John McMahon, our most excellent DG, and if you're paying attention to the news, you've certainly seen this man on TV, claims that he has a really fantastic plan. And now me speaking 2 weeks later, I really am so excited to see that plan, John. Please, that plan anytime now. Coming back to the story. But at this point, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to say. So we are doing the one thing we can. We are going to walk out of our college. We are going to walk onto the street corner, and we are going to hold up some signs. Right? Well, I walk into the Vanier College English Department resource room, and there I see seven incredible teachers who spent the last hour making signs, making buttons, making all kinds of things. And when I see these 7 wonderful colleagues of mine whom I love dearly, my heart drops a little because 7 plus 1 is 8. And 8 is not a protest, people. I've been at a lot of protests in my life, and I'm just hoping our reputation as a college as not being super politically active does not hold true, because the 8 of us, though brave, we're really not a protest. We're walking down the hallway carrying our signs, carrying our buttons. They had a button machine. And I'm just thinking about, why am I here? And I don't mean why am I here at Vanier? I mean, like, well, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing as a college teacher anyway? Like, I've been a teacher at this point 13 years, lucky number 13. And now here I am with the government very much putting my job, my life, these things that I put my passion into question. What am I doing here? Well, let's see. When I finished university, I needed a job. And I had a coffee with my brother. We were talking about jobs. And at that point, he had been applying for college jobs for a long time. He was a communications grad and looking to get into the humanities. And he'd had a really tough time at John Abbott, at Dawson, at Vanier. He wasn't able to get an inroad anywhere. And so I did the only thing a younger brother could do. I seized this opportunity to find a job for myself before he could get one. What brought me to Vanier College was not a love of education, but spite. Pure brotherly spite. And now here I am 13 years later, and that spite has really worn out. It doesn't take long before you realize that spite doesn't get you through an 8 a.m. class. And spite doesn't teach you what to do when you're actually teaching at 4 colleges, because no one's looking for one teacher with no experience. But you can get a little bit of work at Abbott, a little bit of work at Vanier, a little bit of work at Centennial, and even a sessional job at McGill, but Dawson won't call you back. It's fine, Dawson, it's fine, I don't care anymore. And over the course of multiple years, learning how to actually do this thing that I do, learning how to talk to students, learning how to convince students that theater is interesting, that storytelling is interesting, that books and ideas are worth their time, And learning more about them, learning more about where they come from, the different languages and ideas and cultures. One of the gifts of Vanier College is we have students from everywhere, all of these different experiences. I've had the opportunity to work with students who are refugees. I've had this opportunity to work with students who English is not their first or second or third or fifth language. I've had opportunities to work with students who have been in the French system their whole lives, who love Quebec, who've grown up here and are proud Quebecois people, but wanted something different from Cégep, wanted something different at this stage in their lives. I've had all these experiences, but it doesn't answer the question, why do I want to be here anyway? And I step out of the halls of Vanier towards the streets, beautiful green fields leading up to the streets in front of Vanier. And as I'm walking out, I'm hoping I'm not seeing anybody. There's no protest here. There's a few people smoking on a bench, and there's a couple making out in the corner. It's Cégep. And my sign, which I'm holding up here, is kind of doing one of these. And I never drag it on the floor. It's like a flag. You can't let that drag on the ground, but it's definitely at half-mast at this point, shall we say. We get about halfway towards the street, and that's when I see students bringing out tables. And it's our good friends. It's the Vanier College Student Association, and they're setting up a table of snacks. And their brilliant plan, they're going to trade snacks for signatures on a petition against Bill 96. And if you've met students, or if you are a student, this is an excellent idea. And I noticed that Isabella, one of my students, a student I'd had in my class just 2 hours ago, is one of the students giving out snacks. It's really great. I chat with her for a few minutes, and as I take a step away, lift my son a little higher, nice to see some student pride, I realize she's giving instructions to all the people around her. And it turns out that the student who I've worked with for this full semester, is not just Isabella in my contemporary theater class. She's the president of the Vanier College Student Association. She is a figure at this college, and I don't know it at this point, but in a week at the real big protest for Bill 96, she's going to give a speech on a big stage in front of a lot of people, and it's going to be filmed, and people will talk about this speech. People will talk about this person as a student standing up for what she believes in. I don't know all that yet, but in that moment, I see her in this new light, and I'm super impressed. And then suddenly there's a tap on my shoulder, and it's another student of mine, and I'm super embarrassed. He's not here tonight. I don't remember his name, because I taught him 2 years ago. He was my Intro to College English course, and he's grown up a lot in 2 years. He's 20 now, and we talk for a minute. He goes off with his friends, and I'm watching him, and I don't know how else to put this. He's funny. I'm watching him being funny and smart and talking about whatever, about the world, about politics, about life, and he's funny. And I am so proud of this guy. And it occurs to me as I'm watching these two students that I've been a teacher for 13 years. 13 years, teaching 120 students a semester, over 2 semesters a term, so it's 240 a year, times, I'm an English teacher, I'm not a math teacher. But that's like a lot of students. That's a couple of thousand students. That's a couple of thousand people like Isabella and this poor guy whose name I forget. And it hits me that this is what I love about teaching Cégep. This is why I'm here. I am here because I love meeting people and being this moment in people's lives and not recreating, not transforming them, certainly not setting them on a road, but giving them a new perspective, helping them find a new idea, a new approach to things, being a part of their journey. The Bill 96 debate is often framed as English teachers like me worried about losing their jobs, which we are. But more than that, it is also a question about students' rights and about the opportunity to learn new things, meet new people, and have new experiences. And I am privileged, I am so privileged to have been a part of this for the last 13 years. When Bill 96 was first announced, I thought of this as yet another sign in my long life here in Montreal, a sign that I am not ever going to be fully welcome here, no matter how good my language skills are, no matter how much I love this city, this province, for all its faults, I will never be completely welcome here. But being at this protest and seeing these protests in the weeks that followed, and even though this bill has passed just in the past couple of days, I have to say that a sign, a symbol, only means what we put into it. And what I put into it is that this has been a test, and this will continue to be a test, for why I think education is important, for why we as a community value education and opportunity and conversations like these ones. By the end of the hour of protest, more people do show up. It's not just 8 teachers and a couple of students. We get teachers from other departments. We even get a couple of French teachers. It's pretty cool. We do get people with different opinions and different perspectives and different stories. And that's exactly what I love about college. That's exactly what I love about CEGEP, and that's exactly what I love about this city and this community that we're part of. And even though we're not as big as the Dawson protest, and we're not as big as the citywide protest, that wouldn't make sense, we do hold up our little signs, and we do make people honk their horns as they drive by, and we do make something of a stand that day, and we'll continue to do so moving forward. Thank you.